Welcome to the Business Growth Masterclass, where business growth is made simple. Listen as we discuss best practices to streamline your operations, increase your profits, and ultimately create healthier and more valuable companies. Today's guest was Jerrod Shelton, the owner of Creative, a marketing agency based here in Lubbock, Texas. And it was a great interview. He had great stories, and it's just a fun, creative guy.
Yes, very much so.
What was your number one takeaway from that interview?
Well, Jerrod is obviously a creative person just in his nature, and I love that he wanted to bring kind of an artistic excellence to everything that he does, and that's what he's passionate about. You can just feel it when he talks about that. Like, that's his why. A big part of his why anyway. So I loved that. I love seeing somebody who gets to do the thing they love the most, and then they found a way to let the rest of the business run without them pretty well. And we talked about that boiling down to the people, the glue guy that we talked about, and then also systems. And really it's amazing to me how that just is a common theme with everyone we talk to.
That was my biggest takeaway as well. We have so many business owners that roll their eyes and, fight us tooth and nail on systems. And it's so silly and seems so removed from reality. But you have this creative type, who is the ultimate anti-system guy,
Or you would think so.
You would think so. But his business is now scalable. He's able to step out of working in the business and actually work on the business because he fully embraced, how do I develop a standard way of doing everything, document that, teach my people to operate within that, and then tweak it all the time. And he really drove that home from this creative perspective that I think business owners really need to hear that, because that's such an important thing for a business owner to spend time working on.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
All right. I think you're going to enjoy this podcast. And here we go. We are live. Welcome to the podcast, Jerrod Shelton.
Thank you, Albert and Kellen, very, very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
We're excited to
Been
have
looking forward
you.
to this, yeah.
And Kellen's got a icebreaker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
All right. So for our icebreaker question, I would like to ask, what's your go-to snack during the day?
Oh, yeah. Almonds.
Almonds. Okay. That's a healthy choice. I like it.
Yeah.
What brand?
Whatever brand Sam's sells,
Okay.
the low end. We're not fancy enough to get Costco, but Sam's almonds will work.
Sounds like a winner to me. I would go for that. So
What's your? This is our first time asking this one. What is your go-to snack?
I rarely snack. So I forget to eat, honestly, a lot of days. Like, I'll look up and it's 2:00 and it's like, oh, I haven't had anything to eat all day.
Yeah.
If I think about it.
I mean, it doesn't have to be during the day, like at night when you're when you're snacking.
True.
The guilty pleasure for me is popcorn. Gotta have like a
that's
bag of
pretty
popcorn
healthy.
or stove. I do it on the stove actually, because I think the bag stuff is bad for you.
Fancy.
I'll give you that.
Full of phthalates is what I mean.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
there you go.
Don't get,
Buzzword.
don't get
Things
me
I
started.
can't pronounce.
All right. How about you, Albert?
We crush Chomp's beef jerky. It's like this natural. It doesn't have whatever preservative that most beef jerky has. There's like a venison version that we have a subscription that
That's cool.
constantly comes in.
Okay.
Anyway,
That's
okay.
good to know. Yeah, send me a link to that.
I will. They're delicious and come in the mail, and me and my boys crush those. They're so good.
That's
All right.
awesome.
Something for the show notes.
Noted. Okay. Creative.
Yeah.
You are the owner of Creative. Tell our listeners, what does Creative do?
Good. Creative is a marketing agency, and we exist to keep you focused and keep you focused on your story, because your story matters, and we got to tell the world, and your messaging matters, and how that's sent out to the world, whether it's through an email campaign or through a video series or a website. We keep you focused on that message. So that's why creative exists. And when we started, the reason why creative existed in the beginning was loved creating cool content, loved creating the coolest, most amazing, sick, use all the words dope, epic video
Yeah.
you can possibly put together. That I love doing that. And then websites, just throwing that video on the website and then using a screenshot or a JPEG or photos that just make that website pop. And how do you arrange that to just be so cool? That's why we did what we did in the beginning. It was just making stuff that was so cool, and had a blast doing it. I love doing it. And I still love what we're doing today. It's a love in a different way. And it's refining that kind of that passion into people's stories. It's refining that energy into a marketing message that's more than just a video or more than just a website, but how does that fit into the whole narrative of what this brand is saying or needs to be, or what's the goals, the vision. And so, yeah, making it all make sense, making it all cohesive.
I love that.
That's what we do.
That's just so in line with a lot of things that we talk about with our clients too, is telling your story and being able to put that into visuals and a video, like on a website or whatever medium you're working in, is a true talent. How do you get a client to, I mean, sometimes people don't even know their story or what they want their story to be to the world. How do you pull that out of them?
Well, sometimes they are running with a certain story and it needs to go a different direction or could go a different direction. If they don't know their story at all, or they don't have a direction they want to go, then that's a place where probably before marketing happens and before we step in the game of content creation and whatnot, that is a building block before that. And so whether it's a marketing strategy, just business strategy that can be helped or pushed with some strategy meetings early on, great. However, I would say a lot of times, if those people don't have a direction at all, then they do need to talk to a business coach, a business strategist solely, and work with them to get their messaging right and figure out where they need to go. I think sometimes we do help craft the story and point it in the right direction. And as you know, people who have done this for a while, we've really worked to get good at that. When someone though comes and needs more than just kind of a little direction shift, then I think there is another level that some people like Stag Business Coaching can help with, for sure.
Cool. I love it. So come to Stag Business Coaching, get your story straight, and then go over to creative and let's make it all into some great content.
That's very true.
Awesome.
Let me pause there for a second. Story feels very fluffy and ambiguous. And what you're describing, the story is the brand message. What describing the customer, what is the customer's problem, and how is this product or service positioned to help the customer solve their problem? Is that what you mean when you're describing the story?
Yes, the story is a lot that, and sometimes the story is just, and it falls in with that. It's the companies, it's the brands, why. That's why they do what they do. And, it probably falls into why we do it to solve these problems. And so that goes right in with what you're saying. So I do agree it's both, because it is, what problems are we solving? What value are we creating? And is that solely why we do it? Are there other reasons?
Yeah.
All right. This mental image of Jerrod Shelton as an 18-year-old, it might not be accurate, but as I'm remembering, there on the lawn at LCU, I feel like 18-year-old Jerrod permanently had a camera in his hand everywhere he went that was recording and making content, even as a kid.
Just an attached part of his body.
Is that accurate? Am I remembering that right?
Yes. Even if it was just my iPhone, my early years iPhone.
Oh, you were like the first adopter to the iPhone that I knew.
Yeah, I had to jailbreak that first iPhone. Actually, it was the second iPhone to get video on it. I jailbroke it, and I could shoot video at 15 frames per second, which was huge for any phone back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved video. I got into it at the end of high school, and, I watched what my dad did in his time spent with United Supermarkets and all the video and commercials and incredibly high-end content they created. They're in the marketing department there. And that's what inspired me. And that's when I saw what I want to do for the rest of my life. I said that I love video. I can see that I don't know, every bit of it. I loved it. I knew I loved advertising and marketing from a young age. I knew that could be my thing. But what my dad did in 2D design and Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, that wasn't 100% me. I still work in those applications every now and then. I just knew there was a different piece to it that I wanted to take and run with it. And that ended up being video and websites, essentially. It's awesome. Digital marketing. Yeah.
So as you started off early stages, what was one of the first hurdles that you ran into when you were getting going?
Oh, good question. Okay, at the end of college, I was like Albert said, ran around with a video camera, love video. And my then advisor, Dr. Crockett at LCU, said, you've got elective you need to fill, so let's sign you up for web design. I said, Dr. Crockett, this is supposed to be an elective, like an easy class. Just put me in something like fun, like, I don't know, put me in tennis or something like that. Yeah. And she's like, no, you need to do web design. I probably fought her on it a couple more times. And she said, this is what you were doing. You need to do it. And I am so thankful that she did that for me in my career. Honestly, I learned a lot in that class, just some simple code and things that really pushed me to be able to develop and design the sites we do today. And yeah, I wouldn't have had a company website right off the bat, right when I graduated, if it weren't for that class. My senior project, I just was like, well, I'm going to make my senior project the website for creative. And yeah, we kept that website for 4 or 5 years at least before we redesigned it. But yeah, so that was a hurdle, getting past the web design piece of it that I did not want to do. That has allowed me, though, to do what we do today.
Yeah.
Getting over that hurdle.
So some of this is self-discovery. What am I good at? What am I naturally good at and enjoy? What's a little bit out of my comfort zone, and maybe I didn't know that I enjoyed. And so what would you say now? What is kind of your sweet spot in the business? What are you uniquely gifted to do in your business?
Uniquely gifted. I really still love design, web design particularly, and I still love to have a camera in my hand or be to a degree editing. Honestly, I realize that I'm not the best editor anymore, and I'm not always the best director. I do know I'm really good at that though, and giving direction on, okay, we've got this video, we're 80% done with it, or the client thinks it's 95% done. Here's 20% more though that we can put in that we need to get this over the line, to get overlaying any type of hurdle into the next stage. So I really enjoy that, giving direction on kind of final, whether that's quality control, that's just creative vision.
I love the fact that you seem like you don't settle for just good enough. I mean, like I've seen your website and I've seen some that you guys have done, and it's these little details that other people don't do that I can tell is that extra 20% you're talking about, that it's like you could have stopped 20% ago, but that's what sets you guys apart. And I'm just really impressed by that. I'm also curious, like when you're trying to build a culture with that kind of mindset as a leader in your business, what do you say, or how do you build that kind of culture of excellence to kind of go beyond just good enough and to be really on another level?
And that's always a battle. That's a good question, because that's always a battle. There's some things that you can't just beat a dead horse to death. You've got to get it done and know that is a rock solid solution. And that hits a home run for that project. And then there's some other things where we need to go the extra mile, even though the client thinks it's good. We think a lot of our team thinks it's great. Okay, but we still need to push it. And so identifying that and knowing when something needs to be pushed further versus just doing more work just to do more work. It's not helping.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to finding the line of value, finding what their customers are going to find valuable, or if it's going viral on social, if that's the most valuable thing, then how do we push it just past that so that we give it a better chance to have that type of effect. With the team we have and the communication we have in the office, we're really blessed to be at a point where, depending on the season that we're in, so Eden and I run the company together, my wife, and again, depending on the season, one of us is going to be out, or maybe both of us are going to be out. Like quite often, with 4 kids and all things going on, it's just not us. 8 to 5 every single week. We're in the it's not that at all.
So you got to have a good team.
Much running back and forth, and so yes, good communication between the team. And I could not do what we do without our team. And Eden has been phenomenal at delegating, managing, and working with our guys to where they know what to do. Each one has their own particular place on our team. They fit as a puzzle piece. Everyone's got a job. Everyone's working to do the best they can at that job. And so I'm thankful for our COO, my wife. Yeah.
I wanted to ask this, like what does the business look like today? And so you have you at the helm, who is kind of this creative, visionary person who, you need to be using that creativity at all times to it's the secret sauce to your business. What does the rest of your business look like right now? How many people are on staff?
Oh, good.
Freelance, whatever. What does the business look like today?
Well, company's been through a little bit of seasons where we've grown, we've kind of scaled back a little bit. Right now we're at 8 full time, and so we're in a little bit of a growth phase right now, and that feels good. That feels nice. Everyone's, like I said, got a good place. We got kind of even departments, which is nice. So it's not like all of our eggs are in one basket. We've got all of us doing production and no one doing design and web. But yeah, we're very even. And so let's see. Did that answer your question?
What are the departments? I'm just I'm thinking from like a typical prototypical business, chart, organizational chart. Like what is a marketing company? What does that department look like?
Yeah. Well, essentially the way it's been for a lot of creatives' history is we've got people doing production and whether that be photo or video. And then we've got people in the design and web design department. And so now we have those 2 groups really well defined. And we got a couple people in each, 3 people in design and web. And then we have one, and y'all know Aaron. And so he's in Aaron Parrish. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. The Parrish. And he is not just sales. He is account executive. He is account manager in a lot of ways. He helps out so much with sales and keeping everyone busy and on time. And he'll go out on production shoots, and he'll do that. He'll go to California in another month or 2, and they'll shoot a podcast out there and bring it back. So he does do production. He is involved in some web and design when he's working directly with the client, helping the design department do that. A lot of times he's amazing, gets a lot of proposals signed and gets the rest of the team out on the job. And so we help a lot of people out that way. The way it used to look, the way creative used to look is it was me in Aaron's position as owner and lead sales guy, and then also lead on the production shoot, lead on the website design. And it was a lot. I would work 60 or more hours a week. I mean, I think this is an understatement. And while at the time I loved it, it's not possible with a family and with kids and a wife. And so scaling that back has been a tough process and a learning curve that I've had to learn. And some of it's kind of the hard way because I'll keep trying to push and go do it the old way. And whether it's Eden or just something tells me I've got to stop trying to have my foot in every door. And it's been a good thing though. Sure. Yeah. As far as me at the office, I don't have to be there Monday through Saturday, 8 hours or 10 hours a day. And everything still runs. Like I said, good team. It's great. We're blessed.
I heard a basketball coach a few years back. It was when Chris Beard was at Texas Tech, and he had Justin Gray playing on the team. And he was like a player that wasn't really like a specialist at anything, but he was just good at everything. They called him the glue guy. I think of Aaron Parrish as like a glue guy. And a lot of businesses, I feel like when they reach the level that you're at, where you've got that team, but you want it to be able to run without you just always having to manage everything. It's like having that glue guy is just so key. And I mean, I'm curious, how did you find Aaron? Like, how do you find that glue guy?
Oh, I'd been best friends with Aaron for so long. When that position came open, I just knew that needed to be someone to be the glue guy.
Yeah.
That needed to be someone that I'd known for a long time and could trust. And then someone I highly respected.
What kind of traits, like what kind of characteristics if somebody's looking for their Aaron, what are you looking for in character traits?
Character, right?
Yeah.
You're looking for good character. You're looking for someone who you can trust. You're looking for someone who is a hard worker, shoots you straight, is honest, and then just likes to have fun and genuinely, is a good person. And Aaron fits those boxes and so many more. We'd been best friends since high school. And through all life's changes, and Aaron got married, had kids, and same with me. And so we were acquaintances. We weren't like great friends like we were in high school and college. And so to be able to connect again and come back in this chapter of our lives, be on the same page is really, really something special. That's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, my takeaway is if you want to have that in your business, find someone you can trust, and probably somebody who thinks in terms of systems and, building out processes, or depending on what scale you're operating. But
I think especially in like the small and medium-sized business space, finding that person who's kind of your COO, kind of jack of all trades, managing, holding your teams together in the small and medium-sized business space, it's a long process.
Yeah.
It's not someone that you're going to, hire some MBA straight out of college that they're going to come in and take over something. Yeah. But it's this like long dating period where you're like, there are no unknowns. What their experience is. They've kind of had, a lot of times promoting from within, is a good path, or someone that and their character, and there is that trust. And so that's the dream for most business owners is how can I build this team so that I can do what I'm uniquely gifted to do and grow this thing that I'm passionate about? How can I put someone in place who can run that for me? And so what you've done is incredible. And what so many business owners are trying to do, and you're not going to hear this on social media, but it's really hard.
Yeah. And
it takes a lot of care and a lot of intentionality and a lot of pursuit of that person. And that's as a business owner and someone trying to grow your business, like finding talent. Like it's like, maybe not now with the transfer portal, but it's like a good college football coach. Like they're always recruiting. They're a really good coach, but one of the main parts of their job is recruiting.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, you got to do that. And so much of that is so that you can do what you're best at and you use your superpower, as Albert sometimes likes to say. So I'm curious, what is it that's driving you all the time? Like, what's your why behind running creative and what you guys do?
That's great, Kellen. I think it's multiple things because, at creative, it's still large part. I'm at creative, right? And I do what I do to support my family and do that. My number one top priority is my family always. And so that's what drives me. The other piece of what drives me as well, and kind of more professionally, is it kind of goes back to that first instinct of just creating the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
Creating the best video, the most inspiring website. Those things are what drive me at the office, and I have so much fun I have so much fun hearing either the client or the client's customers say, like, man, I was on that website, or I saw that video at that banquet or that gala. Wait, is it gala or gala? I say it every time.
We'll say gala. We're in West Texas. I think you could say gala.
I think I say either one.
Yeah.
That's terrible of me. You can cut that part. Just kidding.
Nope. It's there. So, family man.
Yeah.
Your dad. How many kids do y'all have?
Wait, Dad, what are you talking about?
You're a dad is what he
You
meant.
are a dad.
Yeah. Not your dad. Yeah.
Not your dad. Also the marketing creative. Your family. How many kids do y'all have?
Yeah, 4 girls.
4 girls.
Yeah.
Girl
Right.
dad.
Yes.
So y'all watching like all the Disney princess stuff, or what are they like?
It's a little bit of everything. I'll tell you a soundtrack that y'all should listen to if you have kids.
Yep.
Maybe even more, but anyone should listen to Zombies 2 soundtrack.
Really?
That is an incredible
Zombies 2.
It's a Disney movie.
All right.
And when Carson was 6 or 7, she was obsessed with that movie. And that movie was on repeat at our house. And like I'm telling you,
zombies.
I'm telling you, the all of the music is fire.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
Right.
It's like hilarious, like get pumped up kind of stuff.
Okay.
It
All of
makes
our
me
kids
laugh.
are the same ages, so they're probably going to love it.
Yeah.
Zombies 2.
I haven't
Yeah.
watched that one. I haven't even heard of that one. Noted.
Zombies 1 is okay. It's pretty good. But
Okay.
wow. The second album. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. From my earlier career, I DJ'd some. And so I put a DJ light that shoots lasers and other color beams and a strobe. And it's sound activated. And when that movie would play, we'd turn the lights off, and then that thing would just like throw color, like all stuff, like all around the room on like the big music. It was so funny. It's so cool. Yeah.
He's a creative.
I know. And that, it kind of leads me into what I wanted to ask next, which is what's a funny thing that's happened, or like one of the more interesting things that's happened in your creative career here?
I don't know why. Okay. Funny. I don't know what funny comes to mind as far as interesting.
Yeah.
When you talk about growth and where we are today, how we got to where we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Back in the day, everything was more on a handshake basis. I might send an email, hey, what do you think about this price for this work? And send me an email, sign off on it. Sometimes I didn't even get that. Well, I learned quickly that wasn't the best way to do it. And so, yeah, we did lose, we did this $12,000 production piece for someone, thought they were good for it, thought it was a great idea. And so went all in, and we ended up paying a big chunk of that out to an animation studio. And that was 6-7 years ago, I feel like. And yeah, never saw anything from that. And so it's hard to we did all that work, and then we also paid a bunch of money to get it done. So early years in business, it worked out 97% of the time, but that 3% of the time it didn't. With moving towards, okay, we're going to set up better systems. We're going to have proposals that get signed before we start the work. That was hard for me to overcome, because I want to just, someone needs some work done, I'll send them back. Okay, that'll be this much. And they're like, yeah, cool. And on the smaller projects, there's a little leeway on some things.
Yeah, you can get away with that to a point.
Yeah. Going this direction, though, has helped our team build and develop to where Aaron has the tools he needs to tell and direct the people that work with him and for him. And without it, couldn't be what we are today. Wow, what was your question? I totally missed it.
I was just asking something interesting, or one of the more memorable moments from creative.
That's a memorable moment for me.
That is a memorable moment.
Losing 10K.
That is an important lesson, because we hear this in our coaching business. Like, this is pushback that we get from a lot of solopreneurs and early stage companies. Is they're just hard workers. Like, all right, get out of the way. I got work to do. Like, I'm going to get this done. We're going to make some money.
Right. And
I don't need all this MBA systems, bullcorn. Like, I don't need this. I'm not going to waste my time doing that. But you hit the nail on the head with that. Is if you want to create a business that can run without you and thrive without you, you have to implement some of these systems. Like, there are guardrails in place that your entire team knows before we start, we need X, Y, and Z, and it needs to be signed and in our folder before we start this, because that's going to guarantee payment. And so all of that is given now Aaron the tools to play point guard.
Yes.
Because he knows the system. He knows the game that everyone's playing. He knows the playbook. Yeah. And without that, you can't step out of the jack of all trades and do what needs to be done to grow your business. And so I want to pause there because that's such an important lesson for business owners.
I'm still learning it.
You never stop. You never stop,
Yeah.
and it's an ebb and flow of what's too legalistic, what's too lax.
Yeah.
And that's just, as a business owner, you're always fine tuning that, and that's important work. As frustrating as it is, as in the moment feels like a waste of time.
Yeah.
It gives you the playbook and the tools so that your team can do a good job. And so I'm sorry you lost $12,000, but I mean, the lesson you learned from that is invaluable.
And a lot of business owners don't learn that lesson. They'll lose that money and they'll just keep doing the same thing. So it's kudos to you, because it is hard to set up processes and to think, the way I've just been kind of shooting from the hip with these quotes or whatever, like maybe I can't keep doing that if I want to grow this thing. And so many business owners we talk to, they want to be able to just take a vacation, or just make it to their kid's game. And they aren't able to because all they do is work in the business. So being able to lift yourself out of that by being a lifelong learner and putting in systems and bringing in the glue guys like the Aarons.
I like the glue guy. I'm going to hang on to that one.
All right. I stole it from Chris Beard. I don't know how people feel about that anymore. So this is the second time I've said that name. So
never mind. I don't like it.
Yeah, maybe we should change it up a little bit. I would like to ask you, like, what do you think? I guess if somebody's listening to this and they want to follow this lead that you've got, what strategy do you think has been the key? Like, what major change or mindset shift have you had as a business owner that you think really took you to another level?
It's partly the systems and having to get over that, and just kind of, I don't know, grieving the way it used to be, because it is kind of fun and you enjoy being like the gear and the one that's helping make everything work. And you want to be that as a solopreneur starting out. That's kind of fun, and you feel like I'm needed really big time, and I can't pull myself out because then it won't be as good. Figuring out how to make it just as good while able to pull yourself out is the key thing. The next piece of what has changed about us, and I would say really was a big part of when we hired our glue guy, was a shift that we made to where we really focused on, okay, everyone's saying culture and everything these days, right? Culture. But it was our faith, and it was getting everything in our company from not just, hey, we have a cool company culture, we like to have fun, we're kind of family oriented, come be a part of that, going past that and past the workplace and talking about after hours and bringing faith into the office. And that's been a big shift for us. It's been very rewarding. It's helped us retain some key people, probably help us get some key people. It gives us a stronger why.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect about it. That's something that I didn't have and I hadn't set up. With Eden's help and some help from some other people, we really have. I kind of wouldn't have ever thought we'd be there at a marketing agency, in that field. It's not all those kinds of people that on that same mission. And that's been just almost makes me emotional thinking about it, that we're there.
Model that for me. Model that for our listeners. Practically, what does that look like?
So, good question. It's more than just, we'll close out a Monday morning meeting with a prayer. It's more than just someone on the team is struggling with something, or whether it be kind of a personal thing, a family sickness, illness, or someone comes to us, just solely comes to us, and us meaning me or Eden, and the way we respond to that and the way we deal with that and work with them is just so much different when we are on the same page, and our number one priority is, how do we get everybody to heaven, and how do we treat each other the way we want to be treated, and just making faith and just such a priority in the business has shaped how we make the small decisions and all the way to the big decisions.
Yeah. like you said, there's no stronger why than that.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome to give glory to God and then just see all the cool things that happen in your business because you've got that servant leadership mindset. And we know that has roots in our faith. So
Yeah, that's right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Batter up, my turn.
Yeah.
Well, I want to pick apart another thing that you mentioned. And so you have this very creative product and service that you're giving clients. And you talked about stepping away and allowing your people to run. And maybe it's not as good as it would be if you were doing it. But that's a struggle for a lot of business owners is how do you create a team, especially with this unique service or trade? How do you train your people to be able to come in and deliver as good of a product, if not now better than you could by yourself?
Yeah. Well, it's absolutely another balancing act because I have to realize sometimes it's easy to have too big of an ego and too big of some pride in what I think or my creative abilities. And I have to realize that their work actually might be better than mine. That's simple fact. It should be obvious to everyone. I'm not always right. My creative vision isn't always the best. However, as like the business owner or the guy who's been doing this for 10 years and I'm not going to let go, it's easy to just always, as at the top, it's easy to be like trying to pull your guys up and then to wake up one day and realize like, I've been like pulling them down or something, right? Like we all have to like kind of put a check on ourselves and like, how am I seeing this right now? Am I just being prideful or just stuck in my ways? And it's a balancing act because it's not always one or the other. We just have to be a little bit gracious with everyone we work with. And, sometimes there are boundaries and things like, no, it needs to be done this way.
Yeah.
Right? Run that back. But a lot of times we need to take a full look at the whole process and just, take some deep breaths before saying and thinking that I'm the reason why this company is so successful. No, like you've got a bunch of other people who are just as talented. And I'm watching the team right now. Like I said, I'm not the best editor. I'm not the best at design. I'm not the best at Photoshop, Illustrator, none of those things anymore. I used to think myself that way back in the day to a degree. I've always loved my guys and that, man, some of the work I look back and some of the work that, this one video that y'all may know, Nathan Richardson. I don't know why this gets me in a good way, in a fun way. He shot and edited this video together for this company, and it was this agricultural company, and it was just phenomenal. It was incredible. The editing, he had grown to that point where he's like, okay, he's got this. And when I saw that video after he edited it, we put it out, and within like a month or two, that company got bought out by John Deere.
Oh dear.
Exactly. And I still love that video. I still love what Nathan did. And I've always respected what other people do at creative. And I'm just blown away by their talent. And yeah, I have a fun time thinking about John Deere and that company and how amazing that was in that time. We did a few more projects with them after that, but good people. And yeah, sometimes you just have to realize that your guys are going to grow up and they'll be Nathans, and they're fast or slow, but you got to let them fly.
That it's not easy. Like what you're describing is like constant self work of examining myself. What is my ego saying? What is pride? What is real? Like none of this is easy. Yeah. None of this is scalable. Like working on yourself is not some scalable thing that you can there's this one little trick.
Yeah.
That if everyone knew this secret, it would be easy.
Yeah.
That everything you're describing is just hard self work, self-examining. And that's just business. Business is hard.
Yeah.
and you have to do the things that aren't scalable. And eventually, you've built a team that is scalable. Yeah. That's amazing. So you've built this team, you have your glue guy. What's in the future? What are you excited about for the future of creative?
So I'm always excited about the next project, the next video. I'm excited about the ongoing video projects and other things we've got going on. I'm really excited about this one sector that we're working with, and particularly clinics. And there's something we've really broken the code on, and I'm excited to go after that niche and see how far we can take that. As far as videos and building websites, that's scalable to a degree. I'm really excited to see what we can do in this other market. And yeah, we'll call it something else to a degree. I'm not real sure how much we'll branch it off, but somewhat. And that's what gets me excited, the new thing. So that's totally the entrepreneurial part of it, is that how do we make this into something way bigger? And that gets me excited when I see that vision, kind of that goal, that vision out in front of me, that, okay, that could be something.
Well, I'm getting the idea that this has to stay behind the curtain a little bit, whatever you're referring to. But can you give us an idea of kind of like your time horizon when you think you'll be doing some work along these lines, whatever you're referring to?
Well, as far as work behind these lines, we've got one, and that we're doing really well for. And so it's a matter of taking that and seeing how well it adapts to a couple other companies and similar industries. And then once that, I think I think it'd be at least 6 months to get those the second two and kind of watch those happen. And then I could see that's when, I mean, people talk about scale 10x, and that's where, if we're going to see the big time X's, that's it. So, yeah.
Well, remember us next year after we've gone off with this 10x growth, and we'll have you back on the podcast. I think it might be time for our fire round.
I think it's time for the fire round.
Already that time.
Yeah. All right. We'll start out with an easy one.
Okay.
What is your favorite movie?
I can explain later, but The Grinch with Jim Carrey.
What?
I'll have to explain later. You'll have to give me more time later. Okay, go.
All right. Question. Well, he's a creative type, so all right.
Yep. Okay. What is your favorite book?
I enjoyed reading the Steve Jobs biography by Walter Isaacson.
Oh,
very cool. Yeah,
that's a long
incredible one. Yeah.
My mother-in-law,
time to read.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
she's a big reader.
Yeah.
All right. What is one piece of advice that's common in your industry that you think is bad advice?
To always, no matter what, 24 frames per second, dude. A little bit of that. Just because I think if you're just shooting cinematic and that's all, you're not going to put it on TV. You're not going to adapt it for something else. But that's just not the case with like a marketing agency. You're doing content for all kinds of frame rates. So shooting in something greater than 24 frames so that you can slow that down and make some B-roll look just creamy, amazing. That's what we want. Now, if you're shooting a strict interview and you just got someone on camera, you can go with 24 frames. You also miss out on some slow motion stuff that could happen at the beginning or end when someone's sitting down or standing up or saying something. Yeah. And I know that there's probably some cinematographers listening to this that are like, oh my goodness, you didn't say 60 frames for an interview. And probably 30 is fine. But I'm just not a 24 frames guy to the heart. I'm a 60 frames guy, 100%, because we want a slow motion B-roll. We want that to look awesome.
Nice and creamy, like you said.
Yes. You know what? And if you can shoot 120 or 240, that's even better on specific slow motion shots. Okay. But yeah, I'm not a 24 frames only kind of guy.
I'm suddenly very insecure about whatever our frame rate is for these videos.
I don't even want to look. I'm scared to look at it. Okay. And what words of wisdom or quote do you try to live by, or has it impacted your life?
Yeah. I'm going to go with two. I'm going to go back to Dr. Crockett in college. So I took a
shout out to Kathy Crockett.
Shout out big time. So I took a couple or multiple classes with her. And one of the themes was sharpen your sword. Real simple, real easy. We touched on that a lot. And in the early days of business, I thought about that a lot. And so sharpening my sword, not always just editing a video, or how can I get better at editing that video? How can I get better at building a website through continuing education? And so I remember that it would just come back into my mind over and over and over for years. And I'd always think back to her class. Then the other thing, and this also came from my LCU days too, did a lot of things with John King and video and some photo stuff. And John always, it's a quote everyone knows, keep it simple, stupid, kiss.
Yeah.
And when you can, keep it simple. And so those are the two things, and treat everyone the way you'd like to be treated. So there's 3 for you.
There you go.
Love it.
My dad taught me that one.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for being a guest on our podcast. That was fun.
Yes.
And you have great stories, but thank you for being on.
Thank you all very much. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to that podcast. I hope you got a lot out of it. I know we did. And if you want more where that came from, if you want to continue to learn from business owners, how they grew their business, how they streamlined them, and how they increased their profits, go ahead and click the subscribe button. And if you are a business owner who feels stuck in your business, that you can't work on it, you can't grow your business, if you feel stuck, go to our website, www.stagcoaching.com. And in the top right-hand corner, there's take our free business assessment. In just a few minutes, you can answer some questions and get a free diagnosis on what is wrong with your business, where you're weak, where you're strong, and some of the next steps to improve that. So it's a free business assessment. Go to our website and take it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.